left my job for 10 years to come to this as like an exit strategy. And I had 10 years of tenure and 200 hours of PTO every year to come here for better opportunity.
Hey, for the first time, we're hearing from federal IRS employees that lost their jobs.
In the coming days, as many as 1,000 people at the IRS in Ogden could be looking for new work. Thanks for joining us tonight for 2 News at 6. I'm Heidi Hatch.
And I'm Mark Gabel. We do have team coverage for you tonight on these federal job cuts. We start with Leslie Duarte, who spoke to the mayor of Ogden to learn about how they might be stepping up to try to help.
Absolutely, Mark, Heidi. I spoke to IRS employees. They're telling me they're devastated because they're losing their jobs, trying to figure out how they'll get back on their feet soon.
I've worked for the IRS just over 6 months.
Tonight, this former IRS worker is without a job.
So I am a probationary employee. I'll be fired in the next couple of days.
He tells me he left his previous job of 10 years to join the federal workforce.
This was going to be my retirement plan.
That is not the only thing. His wife also worked for the IRS.
My wife is going to be fired too, so it's going to affect my entire family.
The layoffs are a part of President Trump's plan to cut back on federal spending. According to the NTEU Chapter 67, the union that represents IRS workers in Ogden, hundreds are expected to be laid off in the next coming months.
Honestly, probably one of the worst things that could have been done in this time, in this day and age.
Ogden's IRS office is one of the biggest processing centers in the country and also one of Ogden's largest employers. I sat down with Ogden City Mayor Ben Nadowski. What message do you have to those employees that have been laid off?
These employees are a fabric of our community.
He says his office is preparing to help anyone who lost their job.
We're here to help, and we want to be a resource, particularly helping to connect with existing resources to make sure that they land on their feet.
As for other employees that were laid off,
Next steps are going to be update my resume, start applying for places, and continue to fight.
we've learned that across the country, 6,000 IRS employees could be laid off. Here in Ogden, that number could be about 1,000. Reporting live in Ogden, Leslie Duarte, KUTV 2 News.
Leslie, thank you. Layoffs at the Ogden IRS office, as you've heard, have left many without jobs, raising questions about what will come next.
Yeah, well, the impact is being felt. Utah's Workforce Services says resources are out there and they are available to help.
Christian Sita joins us live with more. Christian.
Yeah, good evening now. As Weber County and surrounding areas grasp with the layoffs, there is help out there by phone and email.
Oh my God. Oh, they're out of luck right now.
It's early, but Workforce Services is ready.
And we haven't seen a huge spike in demand for unemployment from federal workers.
Offering advice and help for those who come through the door.
This is what we do here at the Department of Workforce Services.
Jared Mendenhall explains that federal employees qualify for unemployment insurance if laid off without fault, and claims should be filed with the department. He encourages employees to create a job search plan and to identify personal priorities for job searching.
What is the most important for you, whether that's work-life balance, whether that's just the paycheck, whether that's the location. And that'll help you kind of focus that job search to the jobs that are really going to take care of you.
Is there enough jobs?
So right there at the end of the year, we saw about a 2.6% job growth over the year. So that's a lot of new jobs. And then the unemployment rate is still relatively low at 3.5%. So there are opportunities. There's still growth here in Utah.
According to Mendenhall, the state's economy is stable and there are opportunities in various industries, but he's aware of the challenges.
There is going to be definitely a period of transition that can be uncomfortable. But again, there are resources out there to help you make that transition.
Now, he does tell me they'll be hosting a job fair on March 6th with over 30 employers. We'll have more information on that on our webpage, KUTV.com. Reporting live in Ogden, Christian Sita, KUTV 2 News.
All right, we continue our coverage tonight. The layoffs may only be a sliver of the federal workforce in Utah, but still, they're prompting some questions.
Brian Malahy joins us live from the state capitol tonight. And Brian, last night you worked to get lawmakers' reactions. Today, you're working for the governor.
Yeah, we tried to get the governor's reaction to this. There are many questions here. Who are these workers? What are their jobs? How essential are they? And how many more layoffs could be coming in the state of Utah? Today, I sent questions to Governor Cox's communications director. Are federal job cuts here warranted? I asked. Is the governor's office pressing the Trump administration for its plan for job reductions here. Should Hill Air Force Base be off limits to job cuts? And can the private sector easily absorb workers who are being laid off? Nothing back from the governor's office today. Yesterday, lawmakers seemed reluctant to talk about federal job cuts. Those who did speak said, in essence, look, we feel for the workers, but cutting the size of the federal government matters. Live at the Capitol, Brian Malahi, KUTV 2 News.
Brian, thank you. Our coverage on the federal job cuts continues. Earlier this evening, I spoke with Utah Representative Mike Kennedy about these layoffs, who says it's about reducing the overall federal debt.
People that oppose those cuts, my first question to them is, what do you do about a $36 trillion deficit? It's a real issue, and we have to do something about that, and our federal workforce can be a way to work on that. The second thing associated with that is, if nobody can fire these federal workers, then who hires and fires these individuals? And if it's not the executive branch, which is in charge of these individuals, then who hires and fires these people? Because people look to me and they say, well, you're Congress, you should do something about this. And I say, Congress did not hire these people, and we can't fire these people either.
If you'd like to hear our full conversation with Representative Mike Kennedy, you can download my Take Two podcast or watch it on YouTube later this evening.
All right, now a quick look at some current unemployment data from across the country and right here in Utah as well. Our Jamie McGriff on the live desk with some of those numbers for us. Jamie?
All right, Mark, last week more Americans applied for jobless benefits, and analysts say that that's expected to go up as the federal layoffs continue in the coming weeks. New government data shows 5,000 people applied for jobless benefits last week for a total of 219,000. The most recent data from U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows Utah's current unemployment rate is at 3.5%. If we break that down by county, Weber County, where layoffs are happening at the IRS building, is at 3.1%. And that's a bit higher compared to Utah and Salt Lake counties. The highest unemployment rate in the state is Garfield County at nearly 9%.
We would like to hear from you at home. You can scan the QR code you see on your screen to vote in our poll question. What do you think about recent federal layoffs by the Trump administration? Right now, most people at 57% say it's reckless and weakens vital services, with 30% saying it is smart and government is too bloated.